I always joke, I put it, I work half days, and what that means is working at a minimum of 12 hours a day. So,
Right. Welcome back to Emphasis Tech Talks, the podcast for business leaders leveraging cutting-edge technology to raise their bottom lines. I'm your host, David Clausen of Emphasis Tech. Our guest today is William Kubofcik, CEO of North American Enbio Group. We will talk about the value of team and challenges and working with global resources. Stay tuned because later in the episode, William is going to tell us when to move from remote meetings to in-person meetings. Be sure to like and subscribe and make sure you get notified of future videos when they are released. So, Will, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you doing that. Let's just start off with, I know that you've got a lot of new technology that you've been, put into play in your products that you're going to market with now. Can you give us just the real short synopsis of what that is, and then we'll dive a little deeper behind the scenes?
Our technology, it's extremely innovative. It's enabled to increase the workflow of offices and save time and money and turnover patient workflow as well, so the patients don't have to sit in a waiting room as long, because the bottleneck in an office, especially in a dental or medical office, is 25% of the workday is breaking down equipment, cleaning it, and reprocessing the dirty equipment in a sterilization room. And we've been able to figure out through our software design and structural engineers on how to reduce the sterilization time literally up to 4 times faster than what's been out there in the market. And our customers say wow, and our competitors say how. So that's
I like that. Well, that's significant in any industry, to improve processes by 25%. So that's awesome. And so just to clarify, and for our audience here, so this is used in the dental and medical doctor's offices, right? So where they're meeting the patients, they're cleaning the tools and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, so typically in a sterilization period takes up to an hour to sterilize and dry. And our innovation has been able to take it to the next level in terms of what you're saying, the markets. Sterilization is required in the medical, sterilization is required in the dental. And in some provinces or states, like in Canada, that we call them provinces, they have very stringent sterilization rules and regulations, and in the US as well. And then, when we say medical, podiatry, dermatology, ophthalmology, and vets too, veterinarians. We've also, because of our technology, because we've been able to reduce the sterilization and drying time by 4 times. Literally, it takes an hour to do. We can do it in 15 minutes from sterilizing and drying. We've been able to enter new markets. For example, manicurists and pedicurists. Right now, it's kind of loosey-goosey in terms of the sterilization standards for cosmetology or beauty. And we're introducing a sterilization technology where they can basically use medical grade sterilizers when in the past they were just disinfecting and sanitizing. And what we want to do is raise the level of sterilization. And there's a difference between disinfecting, sanitizing, and sterilizing. Disinfecting and sanitizing is using chemicals, wipes. Sterilization is putting it into a pressure cooker, basically. And what we've created a line where it's we call it our beauty line as well, and where it can go into a manicurist's office or a pedicurist's office. And so it looks appealing not only to the salon, but also to the customer. But we've increased the infection control standards in that office because we've reduced the time, and now these verticals will adopt our technology. And if you just Google, quite frankly, a manicurist or a pedicurist salons, there are a litany of articles that are coming up where people have gotten pretty much deathly ill, either amputated legs, fingers, because of the lack of sterilization standards. So our innovation and technology has enabled this vertical to utilize sterilization.
Wow, that's interesting. Um, so, you know, I was interested in talking with you because it's putting together and designing a product like that is very much like, or so I've been told anyway, like developing an application. I mean, uh, you have a goal in mind, and there's requirements around that you have to meet, uh, and then the engineers go to work to try to design and develop towards that. So it's all kind of related in that way.
Our core values are simplicity, human-centered design, and technical perfection. So there are structural design and software engineers are constantly, playing between the laws of physics and the impossible. And that's why, and it's truly innovation and technology, the world of innovation and technology coming together to produce almost the impossible. That's why, as I shared with you before, our customers say wow, and our competitors say how.
That's awesome. Well, so I think our audience being primarily, business owners that are looking and trying to find ways to advance their businesses based on technology are kind of across the board. But that includes, and often in most of the businesses that we talk to, there seems to be some core team of high performing team, I guess is the way I would put it. We had one group on here a while back where they called it their SEAL Team 6. But tell me about your thoughts and processes about one, getting highly qualified people to come work on your initiatives like that, and two, keeping them engaged so that they don't see that next squirrel and run off and do the next thing, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. You're only as good as your weakest link, right? And your biggest asset in any organization are your people, right? You're only as good as your people. What's that acronym? TEAM, right? Team together, everyone achieves more. And it's all about the team. And this company's based out of Switzerland, and um, its DNA is from its parent company, which has over 30 years in biotechnology and industrial hydroponics. And that's where this company spun off, because sterilization is extremely key, is critical in biotechnology and industrial hydroponics. So we've been able to bridge from there into the sterilization process and brought it to the dental, medical, and piercing and manicurist and pedicurist industry. And it's only because of the people. It's keeping the talent around, but also, it's one thing to have an idea. Everyone can have ideas. It's a matter of executing that idea, and then all the challenges that come with it, because there's version 1, 2, 3, and 4 based on beta testing and feedback from the market and things that you didn't think about when you rolled out, and you go back to your team of talented engineers and say, we got to figure this out. We didn't think about this. Um, and you find that out all during the beta testing phase.
So tell me about challenges as it relates to dealing with a team that is uh, at least partially or somewhat globally dispersed, right? I'm sure you've got folks in the U.S., Canada, maybe. I know you've got a footprint in Canada, and then as you mentioned, Switzerland as well. So, uh, how does that work? What are the complications that you run into?
It's like anything else, right? There's nothing here. Here's a statement. I think AI can't buy you a steak, right? So it's a people business, right? Even when the finished product is done, it has to be sold, and the way to sell it is belly to belly, meeting with people, connecting, and that chemistry. Um, sharing of ideas and building the trust. And there's only two things we sell: is trust and value. And there's nothing like bringing people together. And there are tremendous challenges in working remotely. I mean, we're worldwide. We're on every continent in the world. This was originally manufactured and designed out of Switzerland. And then we've also moved operations over into Central Europe. So we have, there are times where our team is working remote, and then there are times where they're working together. And there's pros and cons to both. But I'm always a proponent of bringing people together in one facility in the same room. But COVID taught us something differently, right? And hence what we're doing, right? We're virtual as well, and so we're taking advantage of technology here, where it reduces cost and time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, I think it was that your point is well taken in that there are times when, meeting face to face is really the right answer. And then there are times where, um, obviously doing it remote, as you mentioned, using this platform right here today, makes it more cost efficient and doable. Where, if we had to travel both of us to a central location somewhere, or even just one of us, then it would have probably been cost prohibitive to do this. So there's as with a lot of things, I think I'm a big proponent of the right tool for the job. I mean, and just make sure that you don't pick up a tool, think it's a hammer, and that everything else is a nail, and that that's the right tool for it. So you need to pick your tools accordingly, and I think that's what I'm hearing from you, and that's spot on in my book. So now, how old is the division that you're working with? How old is this Enbio company? I mean, how old is that?
Yeah, great question. They're part of a larger capital group that does about 200 million a year. Its DNA was based on engineers from biotechnology and industrial hydroponics, where that's 30 years with other companies. This division, this business unit, which I'm responsible for as the CEO of North America, is 7 years old. So we've sold over 38,000 of these sterilizers worldwide, and I'm responsible for the United States and Canada.
Okay, all right. So you're not maybe a little bit past the startup stage, but it's not like you've been doing this for decades, kind of thing either.
Yeah, correct. In North America, we're pretty much a startup. We're 2.5, close to 3 years in the United States and Canada. And different markets respond to technologies different, and it's one. I'll give you an example. The technology is being fully embraced in the European market, in the Polish market, because the sterilization standards there are different. They're a little more stringent. And here in the United States, different market, different standards. So it's just a slower hill to climb. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as it comes to the back end of the office, the way the technology behind the finance reporting, the books, your bookkeeping, those kind of things, your operational systems, is that all run off uh, the venture group's back end, or is that separate? Do you have a separate stack for your company?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we are currently right now working off the mothership, but eventually we'll be independent with our own system. So they're kind of nurturing us along till we can stand our own 2 feet and develop systems and processes, and embrace newer technologies here available in the United States.
So I know there's some of our audience that's listening that's wondering what those challenges are when you're working with using another organization's back end. Can you tell us what that's been like, and both the pros and cons that you see in that?
I guess one of the challenges is training and learning learning new systems. The other is time zone difference, right? When
Yeah,
you're a global company,
sure. Yeah.
it could be 6, 7, 8 hours ahead. So they're a whole nother day. So it's a matter of, there are times, in terms of me getting trained or up to speed or communicating or trying to get things executed from back home from the corporate office. There are times I'm up and out by 3 or 4 a.m. and their day is in full swing, right? So, um, and I always joke, I put it, I work half days, and what that means is working at a minimum of 12 hours a day. So,
Right. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Been there, done that. And then here you are trying to get in and meet up with some of your folks over there. It's 4 in the morning here, and they're wondering why Will's running so late today.
and then you have when you're a multinational company, you also have cultural differences as well as language, right? Everybody wants to work together, but it also sometimes interpretation of what you're saying can be misinterpreted as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. I've worked with teams from all over the world at different times, and that's I run into that quite a bit, and so we spend a lot of time reiterating what we've said, saying it differently, putting it in writing, doing documenting as much visually as we can to make sure that there's a visual piece behind it that might spark some questions. So there is that component when you start thinking about working with folks in different cultures, as you point out. So not just that they're separated by the ocean or something like that, but even just different cultures. Uh, it, you have to plan on a little more effort involved in getting that communication across.
I'll give you, communication is key, right? In anything. And, it could be said, but it has to be received, right? And it has to be, it's either going to go like this or like this. And I'll give you an example. This morning, I'm down here at our Georgia facility. I went back to meet with some of our shipping and receiving personnel. And the one gentleman is new and he's being trained by our European transportation person, shipping and receiving, and it was a language barrier, right? And he was getting trained on the system that they use to process orders, ship and receive, create labels, and all that kind of stuff. It would seem basic or simple, but when there's a language barrier and there had to be an interpreter on the other side, and there's a delay, and then there's challenges with the internet going down, and the system going down, and so technology's great, but there is also challenges with it when it's not working.
Right. Yeah. Technology is great when it works. So let's go ahead and get the AI question out of the way.
Okay.
We have to do the AI question on each podcast here. So the question is, how are you using AI? And if not, how do you see that AI might impact what you're doing or change how you do things going forward or in the near future?
Uh, Interesting. Use AI for market research. Use AI for competitive research. Chat GPT. Just as something as simple as that. The other is also working along with another colleague of mine who I've known in the industry for over a decade, Ronnie Klein. He's actually embracing AI, where he's bringing AI into organizations to help them improve processes. And he introduced me to one of his AI platforms to implement with our service department, where if a customer reaches out to us, whether it's via phone or chatting, and they have a question, AI could basically you put in information and an AI could basically answer their questions, frequently asked questions. So how do I put it? It speeds up the process of getting answers, and customer satisfaction level is increased. So bottom line, AI's here, and AI is here to stay, and you have to embrace it. And I believe the ones that embrace it and leverage it will have a competitive advantage in whatever industry they're in.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. We also have had a lot of conversations on this channel about, one, making sure that you have a good use case for it. I mean, you mentioned a couple of really good ones there. And then also making sure you roll it out in incremental steps. So do soft rollouts, test it really hard, make sure it's going to do what you expect it to do before you ship it out and depend on it. So all of those kind of qualifiers. And let's talk about, so when you think about rolling out your own back-end systems, kind of going back to that a little bit, are you to the point yet that you're thinking about if you're going to do that as on-prem systems, or if you're going to go to the cloud, or do you have a preference about SaaS solutions? What does that look like?
I would say a cloud-based solution is probably the most sensible, especially with so many people working remotely as well. I think that makes the most sense. And then everything comes down to dollars and cents, right? there's a lot of solutions out there, and there's a reason why some organizations are still antiquated, using Word docs and spreadsheets versus embracing cloud-based solutions.
Exactly. Okay. So, Will, we really appreciate you jumping on with us. How can our audience keep in touch with you and follow up on and monitor what Enbio is doing?
Yeah, I mean, they could easily, go to our website, enbio.com, enbio.com, or they can call our toll-free number too at 844-NBO-US, or they could even, look me up on LinkedIn too under my name, William Kubofcik.
There you go. And we'll have links in the description below, so look for that. And if you want to see more videos and more content from business owners from all different spectrums, I think this was interesting in that it was a little different spectrum than what we normally hear from. Be sure to subscribe and like so that we can improve the traffic there and make sure that others get to find us and so forth. And jump down and comment below if you have some information, some feedback for Will or just for the audience in general. That would be great. Otherwise, take care, and we'll see you next time.